Now, we talk to creatives on the show, don't we, in every field. Everyone from best-selling authors to poets, comics, festival organisers, photographers, artists, designers, and mindfulness gurus as well. Now, one thing we've been talking a lot about this weekend is making a creative space, whether that's somewhere zen for meditation, a home spa for yoga, or just tidying your office and making you feel happy in your home wherever you are. Let's face it, we're stuck in for a while, aren't we? Well, Lee Chambers is an environmental psychologist and wellbeing consultant. Lee, how important is it that we kind of nest down in isolation and feel happy where we are as far as we can?
Oh, it's essential to bolstering our mental health and well-being during what is a really challenging time, and having that space where we've intentionally designed it to be, a creative space for us to move from the environment of working at home or schooling at home to kind of having that actual space where it's designed for that particular purpose, and whether that be to knit or to draw or to write or even to work in whatever your job is, having that designated space where you've designed it in the way that you feel the most comfortable. It'll bring you that resonance that you get when you're able to get into a flow with your state and just kind of work and create and actually be mindful. You're not looking at that pile of washing, and that's kind of taking your mind away from what you're doing, and really it's just having that space to just be in that moment and not be worried about what else is happening.
Well, it's so true. So often I've kind of crashed on the sofa thinking, get out my sketchbook and do some drawing on the sofa, and then you kind of get distracted by what's going on. Maybe the dog's come up for a cuddle or there's something interesting on TV, and then the kind of creative projects get shoved to one side and I end up not doing them. Whereas if you've got that kind of space, it's almost like having not a classroom, because that kind of defeats the creative object, doesn't it? But it does feel like it's that space for you to centre your creativity and channel all of those vibes into those activities, whether it is painting or knitting, like you say. But I don't know, Lee, if you know, I'm self-isolating. So at the moment, I'm broadcasting the show live from my home studios in my attic. And I've been trying to make the space quirky, but also good for my mental health, because I'm obviously spending a lot of time here. I'm lucky that the attic is naturally very well lit with daylight, which definitely helps, but it is also full of lots of trinkets and bits and bobs and much loved possessions that I've collected over the years. What can we do to make our homes or creative spaces like this attic good for our mental health?
Well, I think you just highlighted some of the most pertinent points when it comes to designing a space that's regenerative for your well-being at this time. And it's about, having that kind of feeling of sanctuary somewhere where that's well lit, where, you actually, we quite often use green as, that colour of balance and growth. It kind of brings that freshness, especially if you're able to mount art on the walls that kind of gives those landscapes. And it's just really creating a space where it's the simplistic beauty, where there's not too much, but the items there have meaning, they bring value, and like with many of your treasured possessions, you'll have attached feelings and sentiments to all those items that bring back memories of positive experiences from your journey in your life. And again, that having those around you in a time like this, it really grounds you and makes you feel, actually, there's a much bigger picture out there than the current events, the external events out there are causing everyone a level of anxiety, but actually I'm surrounded by elements of positive experiences that I've had, and the space has been designed by me, and I feel comfortable here, and I'm able to, record and kind of absorb the light and the colour and feel actually quite grounded inside, which is obviously what we're trying to recreate when we're being restricted from going outside and getting out into the forests and the farms and the rural areas where we'd normally kind of get that dose of outdoors, and you kind of build your own little creative space using artwork, using plants, and kind of looking at how you can bring natural materials inside. You can even create little tropical landscapes and use rattan and wicker furniture that makes you feel like you're outside
Yes.
straight away. And
Well,
even
funny you
having
should say that, Lee. I've been trying to bring the outdoors in. I've bought loads over the months of big leafy plants. I want it to be a kind of jungle up here. I have jumped on that trend, that Pinterest and Instagram trend of house plants and cacti galore. I absolutely love them. But is there anything behind the trend? Do they really help with inspiration and well-being?
Well, there's definitely been research over the years to suggest that the stimulation that we get from being in natural environments, it does boost creativity, it does boost productivity, it does bring that well-being. Obviously, the colour green has been really well researched, and because we associate it so deeply with nature, it's great at restoring that sense of balance when we're looking at what is effectively a green wall of plants, and from the smaller to the bigger, and it just promotes a feeling of safety and security and kind of puts us in a harmonious state, and it naturally lowers anxiety. And we are, genetically engineered to feel that way in green, lush environments, as was always the way as we evolved. And there's definitely something to be said for the trend of having a garden wall in your house. You literally could be sat there in a forest.
Oh, that sounds interesting. A garden wall?
Yeah, so I mean, that's something that's become quite trendy recently.
I've not seen this. What is it?
Oh, it's attempting to get what are effectively hanging baskets inside and getting plants that climb to grow inside. And having walls that are decorated with greenery, and literally designating a whole wall of a room to be filled with plants, small vegetation and herbs, and yeah.
Lee, you've inspired me. I think I've got so many plants all scattered about. I think I might set myself the test in the next week to make myself a garden wall. Now, my friends and family have been trying to stop me buying cacti for years now, and they've never managed to stop me. Now, you've just given me the biggest excuse to go wild at my local plant centre that thankfully is still producing plants and selling plants. I might just have to have a go at that this week.
Oh, definitely. A few succulents along a wall and you're onto a winner.
Oh, don't. I'm going to be obsessed. That's going to be my next addiction. I mean, it's interesting what you're saying about, trying to make that farm, that jungle, that forest environment indoors and kind of bringing the outdoors in. Because, I mean, we've all heard of Mrs. Hinch, cleaning guru, huge on Instagram. I have jumped on the trend. I've now got a cupboard of Zoflora where I was never interested in cleaning before, and I have been spraying everything and scrubbing everything to make it smell gorgeous. Really therapeutic, oddly. But she's recently been going out, and whether it's her bits of rubbish or recycling or things she's found on her walks, and she's been making things, which is quite interesting. And she recently made a stick heart made out of twigs from parks and woodlands, and then she spray painted them all, and she's been making them into like big sort of hanging wall pieces, either big hearts or big letters, so R for her son Ronnie, and she's been hanging them up in the nursery. What is it about using our hands and getting outdoors and scavenging that feels so rewarding?
Well, naturally we are biologically engineered, and we've evolved to go out and hunter-gatherer and bring things back and create. So it really fulfills a lot of our natural desires to go and, scavenge for materials and then mindfully build something out of those materials that we can use. And again, those items, they have that smell of the outdoors, that feel of the outdoors, and that it brings that pleasure of actually creating something and mindfully doing it. And we kind of attach to those items that we put time into and creating. And what we actually find is that gardening and those type of things bring more enjoyment than cleaning your house.
That's so true. Lee, where can we find you for those listening who want to find you online?
I'm at Essentialise on Twitter, Essentialise Coach on Instagram, and leechambers.org online.
Lee, thank you. Always a pleasure to speak to you. That is Lee Chambers, an environmental psychologist here on BBC Radio Kent. You're listening to Anna Louise.